Hi everyone, Sandra Bullock here with Rhyme Signatures, the nerdiest music review this side of being the last person I remember floating helplessly through space while being taunted by hallucination George Clooney. And today we're going to be doing a review of the new Dozer album, Drifting in the Endless Void. I've never been a particularly big fan of stoner rock and metal, I'll be brutally honest with you all. It's often felt a little droning, simplistic and unadventurous for me. My usual day-to-day taste being much more prog, more avant-garde and jazzy, stoner rock always sat aside from me, feeling simplistic and basic compared to my usual go-tos. I mean, sure, of course there are exceptions to this, as there is with every genre, as I can ultimately think of a handful of bands of artists from pretty much every corner of the musical map that I do vibe with. With stoner rock, I'm a fan of bands like Sleep, Electric Wizard, Mastodon, Neurosis, Wolfmother, etc, etc. And now, after spending quite a bit of time with this record, I am most assuredly a fan of Sweden's Dozer with this incredible comeback album. These guys have been around for a while now, putting out their first album in the tail of a comet back in the year 2000, and they maintained a pretty consistent output up until 2008 when they released Beyond Colossal. But the band went on indefinite hiatus after vocalist Fredrik Nordin went back to further his education, so it seemed like that could have been the end of Dozer. But now, 15 years since Beyond Colossal came out, Dozer are back with their newest output, Drifting in the Endless Void. And we've been served up a genuinely delightful platter of 7 songs and around 43 minutes of music. What this means really is that every track on this record is full of purpose, full of energy, and doesn't waste a single second of its runtime. There's no filler here, no interstitial tracks. Everything flies along at a well-oiled and polished pace. The shortest of the songs here comes in at 4 minutes 29 seconds, and the longest clocks out at 8 minutes 34. So like I said, there's nothing in the way of time wasting on Drifting in the Endless Void, which is really refreshing to see. Some of my personal biggest complaints towards stoner rock have been that it can feel a bit plodding and meandering at times, hanging around on a single idea or thought for far longer than it really needs to. Now, I understand that might very well be the point, but it often isn't for me. Dozer, thankfully for me, does very little of this. Each song on this album has a very specific feel and mood, and the record kicks off brilliantly with Mutation/Transformation, which is, for my money, one of the most engaging, immediate and satisfying first tracks of any record released to date in 2023. The central riff is monstrous, it's addictive and chugging and really sets the mood and tone for the rest of the album. But it's how well this song handles the moments around the load-bearing riff that I enjoy the most. It acts as this guiding force, but the band aren't afraid to stop by the wayside to allow the listener to take in the view from the journey the song is taking you on. True to the name of the record, there's this incredible atmospheric power which genuinely makes you feel like you're being dragged through outer space. The sheer scale and breadth of the solar system opening up before you. It is so powerful and so intense, and it is such a rush of blood to the head. But as much as a slow-burning trip that the first song is, it's the 1-2 punch of Ex-Human Now Beast and Dust for Blood, where Dozer really grabbed me by the shirt collar and demonstrated that they weren't messing around. The tempo starts picking up, the drumming becomes more complex and detailed, the riffs start ducking, diving and weaving, and Nordin's vocals step things up in a notch in terms of his variety and modular delivery. These songs are such fantastic headbangers, serving up a more turbulent slice of what the band is capable of, giving out that kind of hard-rocking Queens of the Stone Age vibe, but with the fuzzy low impact of Sleep's Holy Mountain. I can comfortably call Dust for Blood's chorus one of the best of the year so far. It is such a rush hearing Nordin's falsetto wailing out, the music fading into nothing behind him, and then bam! Everything launches back into a furious assault. The song is jammy, intimate, scaled back, and satisfying as all hell. It's a song to drive into the mountains to and jump off a waterfall. It's so many moods and emotions all at once, and I absolutely adore it. I've kind of completely thrown off my listening stats with this one, and I couldn't be happier about it. Dozer then slows things back down again with the spacey, atmospheric, almost sludgy trip into the stars with 4th track Andromeda. Whereas the previous 2 songs were about getting your pulse racing and the mosh pits thrashing, Andromeda is very, very much on the stoner side of stoner rock. The song opens with a simple, atmospheric, lonely guitar riff before the rest of the band comes in, dropping down the tempo and serving up a much more molasses-like groove. The vocals are more intimate, less in-your-face, and the song serves as a very effective palate cleanser from the first half of the record. This is the first taste the band gives us of the gentle, more delicate side of the album. Andromeda is a great example of how to chill your audience back down after you've just rocked them to Jupiter and back in the tracks leading up to this. Things carry on in the down-tempo territory with no quarter expected, no quarter given, which is probably the least accessible, at least immediately, of the tracks, but consequently it feels like it's likely to be the most rewarding in the long run. It's another thick, slow, pounding anthem, oftentimes feeling quite antagonistic or stressful in the atmosphere it creates. There is something almost unnerving and accusatory about the vibe on this one. It's like there's kind of a panic going on, or the band is trying to induce a sense of guilt and fear in the listener. It is honestly a fantastic song, and I love how different the atmospherics on this track are to everything that's led up to this point. Now, we've been supplied with ample high-octane riffs and plenty of spaced-out moments of drifting on a sea of stars, but No Quarter is definitely the choppy seas and turbulent moment of the record, and I am all here for it. The final two-track hit of Run Mortals Run and Missing 13 are my favourites on the album. Run Mortals Run brings back the energy and power we felt from the early moments of the album and serves as a great way to break free from the stress of No Quarter. Norden's falsetto is once again used to excellent effect and fits the vibe of the music fantastically. There's a sense of escape to this song, like we've launched ourselves further into the titular endless void, embracing our fate and that we are destined to float on here forever. And even though that might sound intimidating, there's an endless beauty to the endless void, which I feel this song really starts to form and mould for the listener as it progresses. It is, of course, the final track where Drifting in the Endless Void really delivers on its promise. Missing 13 is the longest track on the album at 8 minutes and 34 seconds long, and much like so many prog albums, it represents the most adventurous, ambitious, and ultimately satisfying cut on the record. Starts with this simple, richly textured and atmospheric guitar work, but it doesn't take long for the drums to fire up and generate this sense of impending inevitability to it. Missing 13 creates this mood of facing up against the scale of something infinitely bigger than you. It almost feels futile and desperate, but never to the detriment of the song. There's this incredible sense of finality to the music, as if the band are acknowledging putting you through the ringer and are serving you up the final course before you face the final curtain. It's a massive song and closes off with you feeling like you will be floating off into space forever. And in that respect, Drifting in the Endless Void has done exactly what it said on the tin. Everything's okay, so have no fear, just close it out, we'll ride this wave. See where it goes, just find my hand and hold it tight, and everything will be okay. It's lyrically fantastic, musically satisfying, and it all comes together to make for one of the best album closers of 2023. Dozer have come back after a 15-year absence and truly knocked things out of the park with one of the best albums of the year to date. So, what else can I say about Dozer's Drifting in the Endless Void? This really did come out of nowhere for me, and for a record from a genre that often leaves me with a shrug, this one left me with an all-over chill right down to the bone. There's an incredible consistency to the record that I can't understate, and there's not even a second of wasted air. Every single riff is incredible, every drum fill is superb, the lyrics and vocals are powerful and poignant. This really is the complete package and one of the best stoner rock albums of the 2000s. I absolutely encourage you to pick this up in physical format. I myself will hopefully be getting my hands on the limited edition vinyl pretty soon, but I would recommend this even if you either aren't a fan of stoner rock or have never had any strong feelings towards it, as it feels like Dozer have crossed boundaries with Drifting in the Endless Void, and made a record that's accessible but deep and endlessly enjoyable for people of all musical persuasions. Don't sleep on this one, as it's certain to be one of the year's best releases. This, guys, is all, of course, just my opinion, as you know, so tell me what you thought of this record in the comments below if you have given it a listen. If there's anything else coming out this year you've listened to that you think I should check out, please do, as always, let me get to know about it. I would love to give it a listen, always looking to expand my horizons. If you did like this video, please do share it around with anyone else who you think would enjoy it, and please do consider subscribing for some more content. And if you really like what I do, please also consider clicking the Ko-fi link in the description box down below to help support the channel. And until next time, guys, keep your rhyme signatures extremely, extremely odd.